Here we are, down in Rolla live once again. It's the Jimmy Tebeau Show, and it's February 5th, 2020, and what a snowy day here in Missouri. I didn't know if we'd make it down to the show or not, but we're here, and we are live. And engineering the show, we got Steve Wheeler with us tonight once again. Yay! And on sound effects, we've got Deke Miller. Woo. There he is. All right. Well, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight because I brought in some live swag, some fresh cuts from this past weekend. Sweet. The swag played at the Outland Ballroom this past weekend. Springfield, Missouri, and that place has been there for a long time. We used to play there some years ago, so it had been about 10 years since we had played the room. And prior to that, we had played it when it was a number of other reincarnations, because downstairs they have a smaller room, and for a while the ballroom wasn't even open. We've been playing the swag, has been playing Springfield for, like 20 years or so, 25 years, because the band's been going since 1991. But when I was on stage playing this weekend, I was flashing back to one of the earliest times we played there. It was probably the second time we played there, packed house, and it was downstairs before the ballroom was reopened. But we were supposed to stop playing around 1 o'clock in the morning, and I think that night we went till about 1:45, 2 in the morning, which I guess is technically illegal. The club seemed pretty happy about it because the drinks were flowing. They were 3 deep at the bar. And then we just got done playing, and at that point the cops came in because they had heard,
No.
And now I'm not talking about this past Friday, I'm talking about 20 years ago, one of our first times. So I did. Anyway, it gets crazier, and this was 20 years ago, and at the time the marijuana laws were not as liberal as they are right now. Oh, smoke weed, thanks, Deke. Yeah, he's on the sound effects
every time. The marijuana word says.
Anytime we talk about weed, what do we get, Deke?
Smoke weed.
Love those sound effects. Anyway, so the cops came in, and we're like, I see him come in, so the first thing I do is take the bag of weed out of my pocket, and I put it in my bass amplifier, which is a big rack, a couple different amplifiers, and then there's a drawer at the bottom. And it's low to the ground, so I just throw my bag of weed in there because I'm like, worst case scenario, they're going to search us. And at that point, there's like 20 audience members hanging out, 3 or 4 staff, and the 4 band members. And they come in and they get on the stage and they're like, hey, you guys weren't supposed to play so late, and what's going on here, and we smell marijuana and whatever. And they didn't search anyone, but they looked through the band equipment and they get to my amplifier, which says Jimmy on it real big, by the way. They open the drawer to my rack and they find my marijuana, and they're like, who's Jimmy?
He left. He's gone.
I'm like, that's got to be me. And so, it was no big deal at the time. They write me a ticket, and or no, actually, they didn't even write me a ticket. What they said was they were gonna they got my information, they took my weed, and I didn't hear anything for 2 months, and then I got a summons in the mail to appear in court for a possession of marijuana charge, and this was 20-something years ago, so it was a big deal. Boo! It's just, what am I gonna do? It's like, if life isn't hard enough, I gotta go, hire an attorney. So I hire a local guy in Springfield. That's $1,000. I gotta appear in court, and it's like on a Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. or something. And we're playing every Tuesday in St. Louis, so we're done at 1 in the morning. So right after the Tuesday show, we had to drive to Springfield, and I show up in court, and all said and done, it took a couple months, 2 appearances, $1,500, and then I forgot all about it because I erased it from my mind. But when the swag was playing at the Outland Ballroom last Friday, in the middle of a song, we were in a deep jam, and it flashed in my memory about, this is the venue where I got busted for weed. And then I was thinking how liberal the laws are now, and it's how times have changed.
Yeah, they've changed.
It's a beautiful thing. So what I did tonight is, to kind of kick off the show, I brought a live recording of the swag from the show we just did last Friday, and This is the song After Midnight, which is kind of the JGB version, Jerry Garcia band version is my interpretation of it anyway. But on keyboards on this particular cut is Frisbee, Robert Coleman, who did the very first Jimmy Tebeau radio show last year.
Right.
And he's from Little Rock.
Right.
Now, how did he
came
end
in
up?
and played keyboards?
Yeah. He came here and played keyboards. Now, this guy, he wasn't in the band that night. This is a sit-in for the show, and he was next door playing at Ernie Biggs. He had drove up from Little Rock to do a 4-night run at Ernie Biggs because he's a big dueling piano guy. But this is Robert Coleman, and his claim to fame is that he was played keyboards in the Bobby Keys band, Bobby Keys being the saxophonist for the Rolling Stones.
Right.
And for a while, Ron Wood owned a nightclub in Miami called Ronnie's, and this guy, Robert Coleman, was the music director at the club. He hired and fired the musicians and kept the band in line, and that's how he met Bobby Keys and got that gig. But, okay, here we are, the Schwag live at the Outland Ballroom last Friday. Fresh cuts right here.
After midnight, we gonna let it out. After midnight, we gonna chill up and shout. We're gonna call this time suspicion with an exhibition. Right now we're doing all about. satisfaction. Find out what it is all about.
That was the swag. That's fresh swag, right? Hot off the press. That was just days ago in Springfield, Missouri at the Outland Ballroom. Been over 10 years since we played the room, and it was good to get back there, packed house. And, you know, the gig we played on Saturday was pretty cool, too. We ended up in New Haven, Missouri.
Right.
Remember last week
Yep.
we had the owner of the club. He showed up to tell
Yes.
us about the party.
Right.
He was thrown in New Haven, and I hadn't been to New Haven, I don't think ever. I didn't recognize it. We were right on the main street, and they revitalized Main Street, and they've got a bunch of hip shops. His venue was right next to the theater in town that was running Star Wars. And so if you were in New Haven and you were going to go downtown to eat and party, the venue was Dinky's, and he made it free, and that show was crowded too, and it was the biggest crowd that he said he's ever had there. And, you know, I didn't videotape any of it, so I don't have any recordings or proof, but
Oh.
I know.
Well, I know he was excited when he came in last week, and I'm glad he had a good turnout and stuff like that. And so, very cool.
Yeah, that was a first. So we're going to probably
First
end up
time
in New Haven again, you know. And
Did you try his pizza?
We did, and the pizza that we liked the most was called the Flying Hawaiian. And there was pineapple involved.
Oh, I thought there was something else. That's not parsley on that pizza.
No, the marijuana laws are not that liberal yet, Steve. And
I just figured that's why they called it the Flying Hawaiian.
oh, you thought there was psychedelic mushrooms on there? You know, I heard that they just no, for real. I think that they just legalized like psilocybe cubensis mushrooms in Santa Cruz, California, or somewhere.
I heard about that.
And I think it was on the ballot out in California to legalize that too. Yeah. Yeah, they say that, you know, in small doses that your mushrooms are good for you.
Even some business models are adapting that for work use.
Yeah.
For consciousness expansion.
Yeah, and just letting the mind explore.
Yeah, all the potential there is.
We
Get in there.
We're gonna get deep here, folks. Okay.
So
Learn some new stuff.
long story short, there was not magic mushrooms on the pizza. The Flying Hawaiian merely meant that there was not only, I think traditionally Hawaiian pizza has, pineapple and ham?
Ham, pineapple, and ham.
Canadian
And
bacon,
cheese.
ham, whatever,
Yeah,
something like
on
that.
this one, it seemed like they went to the deli and got the big, pieces of ham that you put on sandwiches,
Yep.
and they just threw it on the pizza, you know? So it was kind of like like a ham sandwich pizza with pineapple.
Right,
almost.
right.
In a good way. So, I don't know. That was Dankeys at New Haven in New Haven, Missouri, right on the Missouri River.
That's right.
And here's a story. And Deke, you can back me up on this one, and you can feel free to add details. We got there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and because we like getting there early, setting up. We did the PA system, the light show, the full production. We went to tune the room. We'd never been there, and we were driving up from Springfield, went up Highway 44. But we loaded in, set up, and before we sound checked, and after the pizza and the Flying Hawaiian, we're like, okay, guys, we decided at dinner before we were going to go back to work and finish the sound check that we were going to go for a walk down to the Missouri River, which was just
down to the river.
It was
a beautiful day too.
It was not cold.
No, it was a clear day. And it was just right behind the club. We walked down to the river. It wasn't a very long walk at all. And there's a sidewalk that goes along the river. And we walked to this gazebo, hung out there a little bit. And we were checking out the view on the river, smoking. And we look across the river. And Deke, you remember what we saw?
Oh, there was up in the sky. There was some wildlife. We seen some eagles, some bald eagles. That not just one or two, but like 3 to 7.
Right.
You know, they were out and about.
Isn't that cool?
It's the little things in life, people, and it was one of those special moments. Wow, look at those eagles, and here it's the beginning of February, middle of winter,
right?
And there they are. They're kind of scoping out fishing,
right?
And so it was nice. Then we went back in and sound checked, and then a crowd showed up early. Showtime's 8 o'clock. People were showing up at 7 o'clock to claim tables, and I'm glad they let us set up the room the way we wanted to. So we pushed the pool tables back, made a big dance floor, spaced the seating out, filled it up, rocked it out till almost 1 in the morning, packed it up.
Oh, that place was packed.
It was dancing, and I saw a video of it on the internet. Awesome. Someone there took a little shot of it, and I should have grabbed it and brought it in. But it was we got back to St. Louis about 3:30 in the morning, unloaded the truck, and then we had to return the rental truck. I got to bed about 4:20 in the morning. Yes, it was.
Smoke weed every day.
You were so on it.
I like that. It's every time, too.
Let's hear it again.
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed
Every
every day.
day.
Smoke weed.
Oh, yeah, every day, too.
Well, I tell you what, it's been just nothing but all over the news as far as the numbers came in from the first month of recreational sales in Illinois, and they exceeded $39,287,000, $850.32.
Oh my God!
Wait, did you say 39,000?
39,000 in the first month. All right. Now, most of the states that legalized, I think when Colorado legalized and went recreational, they did 14 million. I'm not 30. They did $39 million.
I know. That's what I was saying. You said 39,000.
No, I meant $39 million.
So almost $40 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
So $40 million in gross revenue in the first month.
Right.
Now, is that a record compared to the other states?
Well,
That's what you're
it's
saying?
blowing them away. I mean, almost tripled what other states have done when, so, think about it. I mean, that's setting a precedence right there.
Yeah, I was quite surprised by how popular marijuana is in the state of Illinois,
That's where I grew up at. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Midwest, perfect weather for...
When they opened those dispensaries, bam, there was
swimming.
Lines down the street for weed, and dispensaries, they would cut it off after a while because people couldn't get in the store.
Well, I think what they did is they said if you're in line after 4 p.m., there's not going to be any guarantee you're going to get any service because we're probably going to sell out.
Because the line's so backed up.
Sell out.
Sell out. That'd be like going to a grocery store and standing in line all day, and you get there and they say, "Sorry, we got no food left."
There's
We
no milk.
appreciate your patience. Well, see, you know what they're doing too is they're now having to take and rent parking places or parking lots from local businesses. So they got a shuttle service. Well, the shuttle service can take them and drop them off, right? But they can't pick them up and transport them with their marijuana because they don't have a license to transport marijuana. So they got to walk back to their car, but at least they can get a ride over to the dispensary and then walk back. So.
Well, yeah, that's not.
But I guess if you like roll a joint Bob Marley style and smoke it until it makes you smile, why the walk isn't so bad.
Yeah, it's all,
So
that's
people
already
are
there.
people are parking. They're having to park so far away from the dispensary that there's some entrepreneurs that are making money shuttling people
To the
down to the
dispensaries.
dispensary.
Right.
And why not? That's just beautiful.
But they
Why
can't take
didn't
them
we
back.
legalize all this earlier?
Oh, you mean
Oh, there wasn't a demand.
Oh, well, there wasn't a demand. Yeah, right. It's only been the #1 cash crop for what, the last 40 years? At least since I've been alive. I don't know.
Hey, I'm not making fun. Hallelujah.
No, seriously.
And it's coming to Missouri. Dispensaries are going to be opening. Steve, you know the details, right?
Right next door.
There's going to be one opening up next to this radio
Yep,
station
yep,
here.
right next door to the
I think
radio
Daniel Jones said he was going to come in.
1421 Forum Drive.
All right.
Daniel's
yeah.
coming in a little bit to talk about the latest marijuana laws.
We'll have to text him and remind
And
him.
remind him. He was here earlier.
I don't know why we would even
Gee, I wonder what
remind him.
he could be doing right now.
Oh, my. And you know what? We're having fun with it on top of that, you know. And the biggest thing, nobody's dying for smoking weed.
Yeah, nobody's
Period.
passing out, overdosing, or
I don't
being
think
shipped
anyone-
away, you know.
Right.
There has
Vehicle-
not been a marijuana overdose ever. Ever.
No.
I've tried. No, I haven't. I think anyone after the second joint, you're like, yeah, I'm good.
Exactly, and that's
I'm
what
good.
you say, and that's the common phrase. You know, you go to take another puff, and you think to yourself, "I'm good. I don't need any more."
Right.
You know, period. So it's safe because
Know your limit.
you know your
You
limit.
can always do more.
It's all in moderation, folks. All right.
It's funny
We're having too
that
much
it's so
fun.
easy for us to just start talking about marijuana on this show.
I know.
It's-
I don't know
You got to smoke weed every day.
Oh.
What? I brought in some more songs, but are we? Do we want to take a
should probably
commercial break?
we can take a quick break, come back, and go right into a song if you'd like
Okay,
to do
let's
that.
do
Well, what
that.
do you got? We're coming back to then.
Oh man, I brought in some Jerry Garcia band. It's from 2012, and this is when I was in the band.
Cool.
And this is JGB, Jerry Garcia Band, Melvin Seals on keyboards, who played with Jerry for 15 years. And the club is the Canyon Club in Agora Hills, California, just north of Los Angeles. So this is me. But, you know, we'll do a commercial break, and we'll come back to that. And I'll tell some stories from that show.
All right.
Tough mama with the meat shaking on your bone. I'm gonna take you down to the river and get you stoned. Up on the highway with that steel driver crew. Sisters in the big house and a working day's crew. Tough mama, can I blow a little smoke on you? Dark beauty, won't you move on over and give me some room? It's my duty, take you down to the fields where the flowers bloom. Furnace, dust on the rise, baby through all the waves, flying through the skies. Tough mama, with that long night journey in your eyes. list. You know who you are and where you've been. On the countryside, I was hotter than a crow. Still alone upon a ridge, and all I did was walk. Tough mama, must be time to carve up another notch. So you got it, imagine the lonesome road so on your sleeve. You'll be modest if this golden ring you would receive. Jack Cowboy went up north and he's buried in your past. Love woman out drinking and it was over with. Tough mama, your perfect stranger's coming in at last. I'm crestfallen, the world of illusion is at my door. I ain't hauling any of my lamps from the marketplace anymore. Prison walls are crumbling and there's no end in sight. Gates of recognition, but I lost my appetite. Meet me at the border late tonight. 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 border late tonight. Meet me at the border late tonight. Meet me at the border late tonight. Tough mama, tough mama, must be time to cover up another night. Tough mama, can I blow a little smoke on you? Tough mama, the perfect stranger's coming in at last. Tough mama, meet me at the border late tonight.
Yes, that was JGB, Jerry Garcia Band, 2012, with me playing bass guitar on that particular show. That was at the Canyon Club in Agora Hills, California, just north of Los Angeles. We were doing a West Coast tour. We even went down to San Diego on that one. Started up in San Francisco. Played the Great American Music Hall on that run. It was quite a tour and fun. And that song, Tough Mama, in its 17.5-minute glory right there. The jam goes into outer space at the end. That's Dave Aber on guitar. He's been on this show before. Yep. He did a phone-in once from Colorado, and we talked for about a half hour about stories from the road and such. Hey, we got a guest in here.
Yeah, that was me coughing.
We have Daniel Jones.
What's
going
up, guys?
on?
What's going on, family?
We, you of all people seem to have your finger on the pulse of what's going on in the world of legalization. So Missouri's getting some dispensaries, and do you know how many dispensaries there are, when they're opening, what the story is on?
Yeah, so you've got 192 dispersed throughout the state, and we hear...
And all those licenses have been awarded, correct?
Yeah, they sure have.
Okay.
Yeah, they sure have.
Dispensaries.
Right. And I guess each dispensary, depending on how quick they can get up and going and how quick they can get their models moving, is going to depend on when they can open. A lot of them are telling us fairly quickly, and a lot of them are saying late spring.
Okay, so my question is, in order for a dispensary to open, though, they have to have product to buy. So are the cultivation centers in progress and cultivating? And I mean, obviously they are, because that's...
Sure, at different levels. At different levels. Some of these guys, they were prepared, and they bought buildings that are closer to being able to get those plants in and up and going, because it's, I mean, obviously it's a multi-million-dollar facility. And then some of them are starting from the ground up, so it just kind of depends. That being said, some of the dispensaries understand how some of the rules and some of the not rules work with all this, and whether or not they can get medicine in quickly or whether they can't, and whether or not they're protected by their dispensary licenses on where that medicine comes from. A lot of things like that. The same way that I currently medicate. I'm currently legally allowed to medicate, but there's no place for me to legally get that medication. Well, that card protects me. Those dispensary licenses have protections also.
Okay, so there could be product available that they could get and open up pretty soon, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I would say fairly quickly. Yeah.
Okay.
Until then, there's other routes you can go. You can grow for yourself. You can caregive. We'll talk about all that too.
And you know what I mean. Now it's been almost 8 months since you've been able to apply and receive your license and your cultivation license and different things.
Some
like
people
that.
on their second and third crops.
Exactly.
Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah. Okay.
So far in Missouri, you guys want to know how many patients we have?
Yes,
I do. I knew you had these numbers.
I got numbers. Okay?
Right.
Yeah, I know. Bring them. I mean, you got hard facts.
Right. That's how I roll.
Let's hear it.
We're at 32,000 patients. Guys.
Wow.
32 grand.
Wow.
Right? It's not enough.
And now let the folks know out there that what the predictions were by 2024.
The predictions by I think it was 2024, was something like 19,000. But you want to know where the kicker is?
We kind of blew it out of the water in 8 months.
I mean, yeah, right. Isn't that the point? We can't. The dispensaries that we have now, the 192, they're not going to be able to provide enough cannabis for these patients, even what we're legally allotted.
Based on what we're seeing over in Illinois, I mean, their first month was 39 million and some change.
Yeah.
You know, I guess change is like, you know, only $800,000. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think it was like 39,275.
How many cultivators do you think we have, Jimmy? How many cultivators in the state?
No,
Home grows. How many people are home growing?
Yeah,
Homegrown. Oh, there's
Yeah.
a number on that.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
when
sure
you got
there
your
is.
card, they ask you if you also wanted to cultivate.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Yeah.
So
How many people got cultivation license?
Out of those 30,000,
out of those 30,000, what, like 3,000 or something?
10 stacks, Jimmy.
Oh,
10,000?
10 stacks of high society there. 10,000 growers in the state of Missouri.
Ten
That's awesome.
large.
Yeah, we're on our way
That's
to
awesome.
a lot more.
That's awesome. Think about that. You know, and see, that's why I want to say, you know, come this April 20th, we need to do a cannabis cup because a lot of people want to show what they have been able to produce, and I think it would be a very cool thing.
That
to
would be cool.
Have a cannabis cup here. You know, your first Missouri cannabis cup.
Missouri, I say we have one on Oak Street, 4th Street, 7th Street. We can go all throughout Missouri, have cannabis cups on every block. I'm into it. What do you
one
say?
at each every tri-county.
So obviously, then, you know, the acceptance and all that kind of stuff, once it's actually been legalized and they really realize how many people actually smoke marijuana or want to use marijuana, the whole aspect of it has just really kind of
Right.
you
Doesn't
know,
it
it's-
start to
I mean,
feel a
it's-
little bit more like a recreational model when we
I
have
mean,
this many people?
but it's the acceptance aspect.
That's
of it.
what
Yeah,
I
that's
mean.
what it is,
Yeah,
really.
that's what I mean. Is I really think it's time
Society's view
for
of
us
it.
to look. I think we're late to the ball game. It's time for us
good.
to look at recreational in a big way. So I brought numbers.
Numbers.
Right.
Yeah,
Let's hear-
we used to call
let's hear
that.
more
That's
numbers.
what we used to call them back in the day. Hey, fire up that number over there, buddy.
Isn't 4 and 2 and 0? Aren't those numbers?
They combine into the greatest number.
Steve, he's not talking about joints. He's talking about statistical analysis numbers. Like he's got hard facts.
Yeah.
You know, we should give everyone a little bit of background about Daniel Jones. He's former city council member here in Rolla, Missouri.
Right.
And marijuana activist from back in the day. You
Right.
know, and strong until
Right.
now.
Now,
Right.
I like to say I'm an advocate, Jimmy, until you push me into being an activist.
Oh,
That's really how that works.
Well, before I met Daniel, I only
But that's
knew him
cool.
as the guy with the sign on Kings Highway and Bishop Avenue.
I was out there trying to get your attention, Steve.
And
And
you
all
got
right,
it.
that's
You
the
got
only
it.
reason
You
I was
got
out
it.
there.
I'm you know.
We all know weed saves lives. It's medical. Come on, I knew that.
Is that what it was?
I'm out there. Steve saves lives.
Is that what the sign was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
weed saves lives. You know.
You know,
Saves lives.
I had some folks in the industry. I had some folks in the industry actually get mad at me about that sign. That can you please change it to cannabis? I'm like, no, these people know what I mean, and that's a lot of letters to put on one sign.
Right. Yeah.
Weed is
yeah.
easier. They can read
Yeah,
it better.
Man. They know what you mean.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on.
Yeah. Okay, so that being said, recreational models. So you guys know there's a petition out?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
What's the petition?
The
about?
petition is out. It just came out. It's from New Approach, Missouri. You guys know those guys as the folks that
Right.
passed Amendment 2 by 62% overall, 70% in Rolla.
Now, was it Mr. Payne you met the other night?
No,
that wasn't- okay.
Yeah, no. John Payne is he's
John Payne,
he's
right.
up there in New Approach. Yeah. So I've been reading up on this. You guys know that 11 other states are adult use or recreational right now.
Correct. 11. Oh,
Right,
wow.
right. 10, and we'll be the 11th. Yeah. A couple things about the New Approach petition and why I think it's amazing and important. One, NORML's backing it, and as a 10-year card-carrying member of NORML, I do like their approach
All right.
sometimes.
Yeah, normal then.
Here's the things that you want to know about it. Okay, you guys see that awful tax happening over there in Illinois?
Yes.
It
20%.
seems very high.
It's nasty, right? Yeah. So our tax here in Missouri, if we get this passed, will be 15%, guys. 15%. That's not that bad. I think I pay that on like cigarettes and beer. Not that I buy, but I think like things like that have a higher tax like that. But that tax is going to go towards. We're going to split it up. It's going to go between the veterans, roads and bridges, and here's the one: addiction treatment centers.
That's what needs to happen.
Right, and here's the other one, guys. I did 246 days in jail for cannabis, so it's super important to me that the social justice platform is experienced during all this. So this one's going to cover expungement. cannabis-related offenses, which is
Cool.
going to be exactly where we need to be with everything.
So everything, because I've done 10 years of probation for 2 different
Yeah, I wish you hadn't
felony
done that.
charges, you know.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to do that.
Well, I mean, it happened,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, I did.
But,
I did myself. Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And
They
And at the time, you know, it was one of those things where they had undercover come in and blah 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 and all that kind of stuff. But you know, it just
Steve was
it
under the
is
covers
what is-
trying to figure out where they were there.
And that's what part of the scare taking it away. It's like it's
Is it
just
dark
a
under
herb.
them
Yeah,
covers?
there's nothing else there.
Right.
So until we get the dispensary doors open, guys, we've got Collinsville up there that I hear folks can go to on Mondays and use their medical card, and I guess they're slowing down a little bit up there. I guess they're out of flour the other Monday, so they only had concentrates, things like
Right.
that.
Yep.
But that is a place that you can go. You can also get a caregiver here in Missouri. And you can go on many Facebook sites. There's all kinds of good caregiver sites out there. Get somebody to grow for you if you can't grow yourself.
Right.
Waiting for
turning
a shop.
turning over your grow rights to a caregiver.
Right, and that's how
Right.
we have that 10,000 we have so far.
Okay, so let's back up just a second, because when you go to get your license and different things like that, when you apply, you have to actually have all those elements in place. And you have to know who your caregiver is going to be, or if you want to be a caregiver, who you're going to caregive for, and all that kind of different
You
things.
betcha.
Right,
Most of
right.
the time, your caregiver is going to do most of the legwork for you. But when you do sign up for cultivation, you do have to describe your grow as they're expected. But it's actually pretty easy. That's how I rock.
Hey, hey.
That was that
So
sound effect.
okay, so you guys want some?
Hey,
You want some information on cultivators?
All right, information.
I've got numbers.
Let's do numbers now.
All right. So if you're a cultivator, you can have 3 months supply, right?
A 3-month supply?
Yeah, 3 month supply. So
Oh,
a 3 month
that's
supply
pretty-
of medicine, which is a lot. Yeah. So
But what's a month's supply? I mean, is there a actual like weight on that?
I'll get that for you.
Okay.
But here's the thing about it. 18 plants is going to is what you can have. 18 plants per person, right?
Per person.
That provides a lot of cannabis for your medicine. The state says that if you have too much medicine, what you need to do is take it to your local dispensary and dispose of it. I don't think it says in there that you can dispose of it at home, but there are ways to dispose of cannabis that maybe, are better than throwing it in the garbage.
Like surplus.
Right.
Like, oops, I have too much.
Or butter.
Yeah, I wonder
right.
if there's a place you can take your allocated too much
Right.
amount to someone who doesn't maybe have too much.
I'm sure they're going to come up with all kinds of things. That being said, I'm cultivating right now. Got no place to take that even if that happens. So, I mean, the state's not expecting us to build our own dispensaries to dispose of this stuff. So, dispose of it as you will, I guess. So, the thing about those licenses is if you're a cultivator, you can grow 18 plants.
Oh,
18 plants yourself, right?
that's awesome.
But if we all 4 live in the same house, we can grow 72 plants.
Oh, is that how that works?
Right.
It
There's no
multiplies.
separation there. You can stack licenses. Yeah, as long as you all 4 live in the same residence. That being said, some people are families of 4, families
Sure.
of 6, families of whatever. If everybody in there has their card, that's 18 plants that can be in that grow.
Oh, I
And
see.
Is there an age limit
really cool.
on the cultivation license?
Missouri has no age limits
At
whatsoever.
all.
No.
In
If you
any-
qualify, you qualify. Yeah.
Right. Right.
There might be some instances, that no age is needed for that kind of issue.
Well, yeah. To
Unlike
put an age
other
limit on an
substances.
age limit on healthcare would be awful.
Well, that would be like
Right.
telling
Right.
exactly.
It just
you know,
doesn't
right.
add up.
Cancer doesn't necessarily hit when you're 18 years old and above, and
No.
PTSD can certainly happen to a child. So we
Yeah.
don't want to,
Right.
ever want to
Yeah.
closet in a medical.
And when you think about that from a child standpoint, it's not like they're going to be smoking joints and different things like that. It's going to be regulated
By a doctor.
by a doctor in a milligram, that's suitable for the age and the weight and the different things like that.
Sure,
Right.
and also it's non-toxic.
Exactly. There you go. I mean, we need to give our condolences to Stan Hines, our resident here at the radio station, does the morning show, has been with us over 4 years now, just lost his daughter, 39 years old,
Oh, no.
to a overdose of heroin. So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
it is. It's terrible, and but this is what we're here for now, and it's just one of those things.
Until your local politicians, your local elected officials are out there screaming that there's an opioid epidemic, we're not going to recognize it on our streets in some income levels.
Right.
The reality is this stuff touches base at that level, people like Stan, seldom compared to how it touches folks on a lower income level who we find those kind of issues.
Right.
And unfortunately, it does hit all of us sometimes. And I'll say a prayer for Stan and his family because he's a good friend.
And everybody, you know, down here, and even myself. I mean, you know, I've got nieces and nephews who've gone through these problems and different things like that, you know, and it's a shame. It's not, I don't think there's a family out there that hasn't been touched by this in one shape, form, or fashion or the other. You
Steve,
know?
if these folks local and then even statewide and national wide, if these politicians recognize cannabis for the gateway drug that it was, they would stop all the horse crap and they would line everybody up to vote, and we would get this over with and we'd save lives. But instead, we want to keep it about taxes and money and all these things. But in reality, guess what, guys? Weed saves lives.
That's right.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. I'm glad we can get the voice out on all of this. Speaking of which, we need to mention that the cannabis is coming back to town. What is the? Let's start from scratch. What is the cannabis? When is it coming to town? And what's going on next Wednesday here?
So Wednesday, we're gonna have at the next Jimmy Tebeau show, we're gonna have the whole Health City crew. Doc Z and her crew are gonna be in here taking questions. If we can do phone questions, anything like that, we're gonna give all kinds of great healthy information. We'll be in the second hour. It's gonna be really awesome. And then Thursday, the next day at Peace of Mind, you can go up to Rolla Peace of Mind on Pine Street and go get your Missouri medical marijuana recommendation before these shops doors open, so you don't miss out on all the good health care that's happening.
Oh, that's so neat.
Every single one of my Peace of Mind stores on their Facebook event pages are going to have all of
Is that you?
that's a good one. All of our Facebook event pages. There's going to be an event page for each Peace of Mind for the cannabis states.
Okay, that's so good.
I'm telling you, I'm having so much fun with this. I just can't control myself.
Well-
and you are listening to KKID Salem Rolla.
That's what I was going to say. It's the top of the hour. You got it in before I did. Gosh dang it. But the show is brought to you by Peace of Mind. We keep referencing Peace of Mind. And Daniel Jones was not only a former city council member, but current employee and representative of Peace of Mind.
I'm your regional manager of the coolest store in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
Peace of Mind. Voted Rolla's best boutique.
Yep. And now, how long have you been holding that position now? Because it's just been.
It just fell in our lap.
Exactly.
You know, we got nominated, and the folks went out and voted, and we just stood there selling our water pipes and our tie dye, and said, "You guys, you're so good to us," and we've been, and the community's been so good, and it's just wonderful to see.
And your neighbors across the street love you so much.
Man, I'm telling you, it's a neighborhood, that's for sure. It sure is. Every neighborhood has its neighbors.
And things are really happening downtown too now. You know, I mean, they're getting out there. A couple more restaurants are opening, right, and stuff like that.
Taco shop, new barbers everywhere.
Right.
The economy's boosted. The cannabis is here. Pinesterdam is a reality. We're gonna make it cooler than cool down there.
You know, this is a good segue. You know, Peace of Mind is the sponsor of Swagstock 49, which is
right.
should tell you all about it. It's happening July 31st, August 1st at the Shrine Camp in Waynesville, Missouri. It's 2 nights of camping, live music with the Swag, my band. We're playing 2 sets every night, no song repeats. We're going to play some Grateful Dead hits, obscure jams, some sick deep grooves, and bring it all back to some love, happiness, camping in the woods. And we're going to announce the full lineup soon, but since we're talking about it, I'm going to leak one band. I'm going to leak one band that we're going to...
I can't believe I'm here.
Yes. One of the other main groups playing with us.
Is it Ozzy?
Sneak preview.
It's not Ozzy Osbourne. I wish. You know, no, Ozzy, I don't think he's going to be playing much longer, but we don't want to get into that. Anyway, I'll leak one band, and they're going to play both nights. It's a Pink Floyd tribute band called This One's Pink, and they're going to do... The Swag's playing 2 nights with no song repeats. They're also going to play 2 nights, no song remix.
Wow, very cool.
What we're going to do one night with them is they're going to play like the Friday late night second stage, and that's when they're going to get into the deeper cuts of like Animals and Metal, some of the early stuff. And
Light show?
And well, yeah. And then on the Saturday they're going to play before the Schwag on the main stage, and that's when they're going to get more and more of the mainstream hits. They're talking about recreating Dark Side of the Moon one of the nights too.
Nice.
I don't know which one of that, because that's one hit right into the other.
There you go.
But we haven't officially announced on our website or Facebook page yet, but it will be on there soon. There is a Facebook event page for it. You can check it out. Go to Facebook, type in the Schwag, type in Schwagstock 49 if you want, and that'll pull up. And you'll have the current information. Tickets are currently available. Now, it's not till July. It's July 31st, August 1st. And keep in mind, we're playing Grateful Dead. And August 1st is Jerry Garcia's birthday.
Yeah.
So,
Wait, what was that?
That was Jerry Garcia's birthday.
Haunted Jerry Garcia. That was scary Garcia.
Sounded like the coffin door closing.
Scary Garcia. That's
it sounds like the music from Law and Order.
No, wait, it was. We saw.
That's the gavel
Yeah.
coming down. I don't know what that has to do with Jerry Garcia, but I'll take it. Because how many radio shows?
Oh, the coincidence, right?
How many shows these days still have a sound effects guy? Hey, Deke, do a sound effect solo over there. I hear a Wookiee.
All right, that's enough.
That's enough of you. Well, what are we going to do? Maybe we should play this. Let's do a commercial break. Why don't we play another song, and then we'll come back and talk more about Hell City and all the good stuff that's coming up.
Sounds good. All right.
Hey, we're back. Oh, that's so cool. I brought in some more music actually that I wanted to play, and what I got a cut from is the Schwag playing at Knuckleheads a few weeks ago.
Right.
We were
Oh, man,
there
that
just
place
like
was
2 weeks
awesome.
ago, and Knuckleheads is in Kansas City. And this night we had an amazing sound engineer. This night we had Frank Farrell,
Exactly.
who did 30 years with Kenny Rogers as his sound engineer, and currently tours with Elvis Costello. He's currently in Europe touring with Elvis Costello, but he lives in Kansas City, and he occasionally picks up sound gigs at Knuckleheads, and he handpicks gigs that he wants to do, and he was off that night and thought we were a fun band, so he came down. But the sound on this is, I think, some of the best that the Schwag's ever been. So here we are, the Schwag at Knuckleheads, Kansas City, just a couple weeks ago.
Without a warning, you stole my heart. Taking it, baby, torn it apart. You let me stand in the corner cry. Told me in love was slowly down. So come on, babe. Come on, babe. Baby, please. Baby, please. Make it, baby. Come on, baby. I'm on my knees. When I'm on my knees. Turn on your light. Turn on your light. Let it shine on me. Let it shine on me. Turn on your love down. Let it shine on me. Let it shine on me. Hey, let it shine and shine. Let it shine. Middle of the night, needs you done, make things alright. So come on, babe. Come on, baby. Baby, please. Baby, please. Baby, baby. Come on, baby. I'm on my knees. I'm on my knees. Turn on your light. Turn on your light. Let it shine on me. Let it shine on me. Turn on your love. Turn on your love. Let it shine on me. Let it shine on me. Yeah, let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Without a warning, you stole my heart. Taking it, baby, turn it apart. Where you let me stand in the corner crying. You told me your love was slowly dying. So come on, babe. Come on, babe. Babe, please. Baby, please. Baby, babe. I'm begging you, baby. I'm on my knees. I'm on my knees. Turn on your light. Turn on your light. Let it shine on me. Let it shine on me. Turn on your light. Turn on your love light. Let it shine on me. Let it shine on me. Just a little bit high. 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 Turn on your love light. Just a little bit high. Just a little bit high. Shine on me. 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 You gotta shine on me. You gotta shine on me. Shine on me. Just a little bit high. Just a little bit loud. A little bit high. Baby, baby. Wow. Turn on your lights. Let it shine on me. Shine on me. Turn on your lights. Shine on me. Shine on me. Let it shine on me. Let it shine and shine. Let it Thanks a lot, everyone. We love you.
The swag. That's fairly fresh swag. That's just from a few weeks ago. That was January 24th, Kansas City. Really cool biker-themed club called Knuckleheads. We've been playing there for many years. And we just kind of winged it, made up the set list as we usually do. But that was Love Light, which was classically sung by Pigpen with Grateful Dead. And I think it's an old blues tune, and they just kind of picked it up somewhere. But I don't know. That was cool. Daniel Jones dropped by earlier, give us some facts on marijuana. You know, he seems to know what's going on. And it's cool.
The Roaring 20s are back.
They are. Look out.
Only 100 years later, but you know, they at least came around.
Oh my!
Fight my way back to the 30s.
Well, before we get any further in the show,
Jeez.
Oh, here they come.
I brought some jokes. I want to tell. I got some really bad jokes. I got some bad jokes, and I got to warn everyone: these are dirty. These are dirty jokes, and it's my radio show. So if I want to tell dirty jokes, I can. Now, Steve, on the radio, you can say whatever you want. There's no limitations, right?
Zero filter.
Oh, there is. There's 7 words I can't say. Okay. A farmer is giving his wife last-minute instructions before heading to town to do errands. That fellow from the vet will be along this afternoon to inseminate one of the cows. I've hung a nail by the right stall so you'll know which one I want him to impregnate. Satisfied that even his mentally challenged wife could understand the instructions, the farmer left for town. That afternoon, the inseminator arrives and the wife dutifully takes him out to the barn and directly to the stall with the nail. This is the cow right here, she tells him. Well, what's the nail for, the guy asks. Replies the wife, I guess that's where you hang up your pants?
that was pretty good.
I'm sorry. I usually start this section with an apology to everyone.
And you did.
I should have been more forthcoming with that. Okay, this one's pretty bad too. A group of prisoners are in a rehabilitation meeting. Their task for today is to each stand up in turn, speak their name, and admit to their fellow inmates what crime they committed. The first prisoner stands up and says, "My name is Daniel, and I'm in here for murder." Everyone gives him approving looks and pats on the back for admitting his wrongdoing. The next guy stands up and says, "My name is Mike, and I'm in here for armed robbery." Again, there is a round of approving looks. This goes around the circle until it gets to the last guy. He stands up and says, "My name is Melvin, but I'm not going to tell you what I'm in here for." The group leader says, "Now come on, Melvin. You have to admit to us to make any progress. Tell us what you did." "Okay, I'm in here for screwing dogs." Everyone is disgusted. They all shout out, "Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, how low can you go?" And Melvin says, "Chihuahuas."
Come on.
Hey, I need to say that I didn't write these jokes. I found this in a book called Dirty Jokes. It was at Barnes & Noble. It was on sale.
There you go. See, look.
Okay.
At one of the most popular stores.
Okay, here's another bad one. This one's about whales. Now pay attention because you might get lost on this one. There's two whales. A male and a female were swimming side by side in the ocean. Suddenly, the male whale spots a ship in the distance. He recognizes it as the whaling ship that killed his father. Filled with anger, he says to his female companion, "That's the ship that killed my father. Let's swim closer." When they were close enough, the male said, "Why don't we swim under the ship and blow air through our blowholes and break the ship up into 1,000,000 pieces? That will be such sweet revenge." The female, she agrees. Okay. So they each took a deep breath of air, swam under the ship, and blew enormous amounts of air under the ship. The ship flew into the air and crashed back into the sea and broke into 1,000,000 pieces. The pair of whales started to swim off when they realized that the sailors were floating in the ocean. The male whale was furious, and he said to the female whale, "They're still alive, but I've got another idea. Let's swim around and gulp up all the sailors." That's when the female stopped swimming, looked at the male and said, "Oh no, I agreed to the blowjob, but I'm not swallowing the semen." That one goes over there.
Oh. Hey. That was good.
Deke, do you have one?
I do have a couple ones.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and take
I was thinking
over.
this would be perfect because I got some pirate jokes and you were telling the whale with this, seafaring. Okay.
Good segue.
Okay. So, how much did the pirate pay for his peg leg and hook?
You got me.
An arm and a leg.
The price you pay.
Okay, what else you got?
What is a pirate's favorite letter?
I don't know.
R. You would think it's R, but his true love is for the sea.
The sea.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And where'd you get your jokes from?
And Steve, on the way down here, he was taking a stab at, it was about a 2-hour drive down here because of the snow today.
Exactly.
So down here, he's in the passenger seat and he's trying to make up jokes, because I'm like, let's practice. And I'm like, so they were all pretty bad. But
my attempt to get there was like, it was pretty,
He was really reaching. One was kind of funny, though. I'll give him credit. And I give him credit for trying because he just started with this joke thing. You got another one?
Yeah. Should we do more pirate jokes or should we go on? Let's
do another pirate joke.
Okay, yeah. Do you know what kind of, what stinks about a pirate ship?
Wait, what's the question? What stinks about a pirate ship?
Do you know what stinks about a pirate ship?
You got me.
The poop deck. I mean, that must be some sort of maritime.
Well, that's part of this. Okay, let me get one in here. One day, 3 dogs were sitting in the waiting room of the vet's office. The first dog noticed the other dogs and asked them why they are there. Well, I ate my owner's shoe, said the first dog, and I'm getting put to sleep. Me too, said the second dog. Well, what did you do? The first dog asked the third dog. Well, you see, my owner likes to do her housework in the nude. So yesterday she was vacuuming, in the nude, of course, and she was bent over. I couldn't resist. I jumped on and had the ride of my life, responded the third dog. So you're getting put to sleep too? And the dog says, oh, no, I'm getting my nails trimmed.
That was
Okay.
That was pretty
enough of that one. Well, it's a cold Wednesday here in February. It's a cold Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
And for all you people out there that are listening, yeah, you know. Okay, I got one more unless you got one.
Oh, no, yeah, I got a couple. What did the lightning bolt say to the other lightning bolt?
I don't know.
You're shocking. Yeah. I don't know.
Those are
It's the
terrible.
weather joke. You know?
It's the weather
gotta
joke.
go.
Okay, all right, yeah. I was gonna say you're shocking, but you know, what else would a lightning bolt say to another one? You know, come on, hey, light me up, baby, come on.
That is shocking.
Okay. I got one about a talking dog. Talking dog jokes, you can never go wrong with those, right? Okay, this guy sees a sign in front of a house. It says talking dog for sale. He rings the bell and the owner tells him the dog is in the backyard. Well, the guy goes to the backyard and sees a black mutt just sitting there. Do you talk? He asks. Yep, the mutt replies. So what's your story? So the dog looks up and says, well, I discovered this gift pretty young and I wanted to help the government. So I told the CIA about my gift. And in no time, they had me jetting from country to country, sitting in rooms with spies around the world and various leaders, because no one figured the dog would be eavesdropping. I was one of the most valuable spies 8 years running. The jetting around really tired me out. I knew I wasn't getting any younger, and I wanted to settle down. So I signed up for a job at the airport to do some undercover security work, mostly wandering near suspicious characters and listening in. I uncovered some incredible dealings there, and I was awarded a batch of medals. I had a wife, a mess of puppies, and now I'm just retired. The guy is amazed. He goes back to the owner and he asks, how much do you want for this dog? And the owner says, $10. The guy says, this dog is amazing. Why on earth are you selling him so cheaply? And the owner replies, that dog's such a liar. He didn't do any of that stuff. Okay. Hey, there's some jokes for you on a cold Wednesday night here in February. We should plug one more time that we do this show every Wednesday. It's 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. here on KKID Commercial Rock Radio, 21,000 watts of power. That's been going for 21 years. So next year, when you're at 22 years, you got to go to 22,000 watts of power.
Ooh,
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll just keep increasing a 1,000 watts or 100 watts per year.
There you go.
That would be cool.
No, that's cool. And for more information on the Schwag, my band, I got to endlessly promote my band on my own show, right? It's theschwag.com, and we're on Facebook, and we're on Instagram, and we're on Twitter. Just type in the Schwag. And while I got your attention, the Schwag's going to be playing this Friday at Harry's in Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Wow.
And on Saturday, we're going to be at the Meteor Theater in Bentonville, Arkansas.
Ooh.
It's a really sweet venue. They got a video wall behind the stage, big lighting rig. Joe Walsh played there not too long ago. It's, it's a cool place. So Arkansas run this weekend. Deke's going with us. And here in 2 weeks, on the 15th of February, the Blue Note Theater in Columbia, Missouri. What a great
Nice.
room, yes. I love playing that room.
Yeah, that's a great place.
Well, speaking of the swag, I got some more lined up unless we got to do a commercial break. We got to do a commercial break already. We're having so much fun. Okay.
Alrighty, we got to do that. Let's take a quick look at the weather, and it's going to be brought to you by Kingdom Kia, your Jimmy Tebeau show, brought to you by Peace of Mind.
Please don't dominate the rap jack if you got nothing new to say. If you please don't back up the track, this train's got to run today. I spent a little time on the mountain, spent a little time on the hill. Heard some say you better run away, others say you better stand still. I don't know, but I've been told it's hard to run with the weight of gold. On the other hand, I heard it said it's just as hard with the weight of lead.
How's that?
Who can deny? Who can deny? It's just not a change in style. One step done, another begun. Wonder how many more miles. I spent a little time on the mountain, spent a little time on the hill. Saw things getting out of hand, but I guess they always will. I don't know, but I've been told in the heat of the sun a man died of cold. Keep on running or stand and wait, with the sun so dark and the hour so late. Well, you can't overlook the like jack of any other highway to ride. It's got no signs or dividing lines and barefoot rules to guide. I spent a little time on the mountain, spent a little time on the hill. Things went down we don't understand, but I think in time we will. I don't know, but I've been told if the horse don't pull, you got to carry that load. I don't know whose back's that strong. Maybe find out before too long. One way or another, one way or another, one way or another, this darkness has got to give. One way or another, one way or another, one way or another, this darkness got to give. Live in the studio, right there. You know, that's fun.
Wow, yeah, wow.
Boom. Woo. Oh, crack, pam. What you doing over there, Jimmy? All right. Jimmy Tebeau live right there on the radio.
That was fun. I just had to do that. What else do we got going on? We plugged Schwagstock. We talked about the website. We had Daniel Jones with the report on the latest in the marijuana business. And then we also talked about, the Pink Floyd tribute at Schwagstock.
Absolutely, your first announcement, so to say, and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, where can people get tickets and stuff like that?
Well, they can go to the Schwag website or the Facebook page, and there's info and ticket links on there. Or you can just buy tickets at the gate, too.
Right.
You know, this is our third year at the Shrine Camp. It is affiliated with the Shriners there, the Shriners Club, and the Shriners participate. We help raise money for their club out there and all the good deeds that they do. What a great bunch of guys. Their third year, and the last 3 years have been marvelous. And it's so much fun. So, and then, you know, that's cool to hear that Dr. Z is going to be here on the show next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, and then in town a couple of days after that and
Well,
stuff
just
like
the next
that.
day.
So,
Yeah.
Yep, right here in Rolla on the 13th, I believe. That'd be Thursday. I think she's in the afternoon as well, too, like 3 to 7, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She's, let's see. Oh, okay. Now, for those that don't know, Dr. Z is the mobile medical marijuana doctor that writes the recommendation to where you get your medical card, and she has written the most recommendations out of any doctor in the state of Missouri,
Right.
from what I've heard.
Yep.
She's been on the show before, and
Yep.
she's just a wealth of information, a walking encyclopedia, and a bona fide doctor with a for real office in
Yep.
Brentwood,
Yep.
Missouri,
Yep.
a suburb of St. Louis there. But she has a mobile unit called the Canna Bus, and she goes to these rural areas, and because a number of these doctors out in these areas are not writing these medical marijuana recommendations.
Right.
And what did Daniel say earlier? There's over 39,000 or
Yeah.
something.
31,000 card holders so far, and 10,000 cultivators.
Oh my gosh.
So that's a lot of people at home, you know, growing their own medicine, which is pretty darn cool. You need to put. It keeps you alive. It keeps you alive. It keeps you alive. We have to reinforce that, you know. Unfortunately, we just lost a member of the KKID family. Stan's daughter, you know, was taken by the heroin overdose, and you know, it was Monday night, and it's tragic, you know. So, you know, as much as we want to sit here and think it's fun and it's all, but you know what, it's saving lives.
It really is, when you think about it.
Well, marijuana, they used to say it was a gateway drug, and maybe there was some sort of truth to it because it's a gateway off of hard drugs to
Right.
not doing hard drugs.
I think that was all just the propaganda of the people who refused to admit that, you know, I mean, that came from the tobacco companies and everybody else who didn't want what the good marijuana can do for the nation, you know. Bottom line, I mean, look what's happened up in Canada. They've legalized
It's
it
fully,
nationwide,
yeah.
you know. I mean, over in Europe, it's never been illegal, you know.
Right.
And it's just so, anyway, we just need to catch up with the times, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, get that camera off. I feel like I'm preaching.
Oh, you are. You are.
Oh, that's great, though. But, you know, I mean, right there, Illinois, look at the numbers in the first month. $39 million in marijuana sales. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. So that's why I was getting confused. Like Illinois had 39 million in retail sales in the first
Right,
month,
right.
and then Missouri now has 31,000 medical marijuana card holders.
Right.
And they thought it was going to take several years to get up to 20,000.
Exactly, like up to like into 2024 by the time we even reached, you know, 19,000 card holders, and we're at 31,000 in 8 months. So,
Yeah,
there
and
you go.
10,000 of those people also paid the extra fee,
$100.
$100 to cultivate, and they
Right.
can cultivate up to, I guess,
18 plants.
18 plants. Yes.
Right.
I'm not one of them. I'm just smoking it.
Okay.
But just in case you're wondering, yeah, I am medicated. Wait, do we gotta take a break, or can I play another song?
You know what? I think I do have a break lined up. Did I drag it over? Let me see.
Or
if
did
I
we
can-
just do one? I got a song.
We just did one, but we actually have one more to do. But
Well,
we won't-
why don't I
we-
play a song first?
All right,
then?
yeah, let's do that.
Okay, here I
Like
go.
we
I'm
know
gonna-
what we're doing around here, don't we?
It's a live radio show.
That's right.
Here we go, some more live swag. And this is, I should set this one up. This is the swag from last Friday at the Outland Ballroom in Springfield, Missouri. This is fresh swag, hot off the press. The Swag Live. This is up again? Okay. That's fine. That was the Swag Live. That's good. At the Outland Ballroom in Springfield, Missouri, just last Friday. It's Fresh Swag, January 31st. And it was great to play at the Outland Ballroom once again. We got to do a commercial break, though, don't we?
Yep, got one more to do. Let's do that. Your weather's going to be brought to you by Rider, and you are listening to the Jimmy Tebeau Show, brought to you by Peace of Mind.
You're listening to the Jimmy Tebeau Show on KKID 92.9 FM, Salem, Rolla.
All right, we're back. Bibbidi bop. Yeah, and we're going to be back here next Wednesday. We're wrapping up the show. 2 hours has already flown by. We want to thank everyone for listening this week. And this week we had a guest lined up from Springfield, and a band from Alton, Illinois was going to come in. And they both called in and said, "Hey, there's a snowstorm. Can we reschedule?" But I want to give you a little bit of advance on this. This one woman, her name's Leanne. She's from Springfield, Missouri, and she owns a wellness center. And she's way into the whole holistic healing thing. And she wants to come in and kind of share information that she has about alternatives besides just pure pharmaceuticals. There's other natural ways of healing that the pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know about, and the current medicine doesn't want you to know about. And they don't teach this stuff in standard medical schools, because standard medical schools, a number of them Western are financed by the pharmaceutical companies. It seems like, I don't know. It's like, treat the symptoms, not what causes them.
Right.
Here's
a pill that makes you go to sleep. Here's a pill that wakes you up. Here's a pill that makes those pills not make the feel like the man.
But anyway, this band from Alton, Illinois, they're going to come back another time. But it's not going to be next week, because we already have a bunch of other guests lined up. Now, last week I put a thing on my Facebook page, which was like, hey, if you want to come on the radio show, if you're a band or you got something cool to talk about, let us know. And we had a great response to that. Great. And this one guy is, he teaches Tai Chi and wants to come in and talk about Tai Chi and just the whole being of it. I know. That's funny. But next week we are going to have Amber DiGiovanni. I think I'm saying her name right. She is a fan dancer for many years and a veteran of the whole fan dancing scene. And she's also a gourmet chef, and she's currently on staff at the Uptown Theater in Kansas City, and she caters all the big weddings that happen there, the private corporate events, and even like the big rock bands that play there. When Chris Christopherson comes in there, she makes him dinner. But she was recently featured on the TV show American Pickers, which is part of Antique Archaeology, and she sold her whole... she had a collection of these fan dancing costumes and outfits that you wear that was originally owned and created for whoever the fan dancing great was of the 1920s and 30s.
So like nostalgic,
and
timely costume.
Now, fan dancing was an early form of burlesque, and it's kind of the peekaboo show, because I think some of these girls were naked underneath or whatever. Now, so there was the original famous person who did it, and then had this collection, and then this woman kind of took on that collection when that woman passed on, and she did it for years, and now she's getting on in age, and she doesn't do it as often, but she still does occasionally, and she goes to conventions and stuff, but she's more of the gourmet chef. So she's going to come on the show, and I was like, hey, can you cook us something?
And
I haven't got an answer yet, but the next question will be like, well, is there a full commercial kitchen, and I'm going to need this and this and this. There's a price chopper across the street, but that's why she's going to drive in from Kansas City. She's getting a hotel room. She's going to tell us stories about the show. The show hasn't aired yet, but she's going to tell us about the whole how the video. She said like 4 vans showed up and like 16 people, and And I'd met Frank Fritz at one time. One of the guys.
That was up in Iowa.
We did a show at
Right.
Ottumwa, Iowa, which we're getting ready to do that again. Ottumwa, Iowa, the ballroom. We got a lot of cool gigs coming up this summer.
I bet you they would be up to coming and being on the show. Frank would.
I don't know. They're big time now, man. No, I don't know.
They're ordinary guys.
We only
We're
ran
just
into
ordinary. Backwoods.
I only ran it. He ended up at one of our gigs because he was in town a day before. He had an appearance at a convention, which I imagine they paid him some serious bucks to come in and shake hands and kiss babies and sign autographs. It's in Iowa. It was a home show he got hired to do, and he happened to be staying at the hotel where we were in the ballroom playing the night before. So somebody's like, on set break, it's like, hey, there's Frank Fritz from American Pickers. I'm like, where? Standing behind you. And he's like, hey, Jimmy, well, you got to meet my girlfriend. What's up? And then, we went up to play, and he's out on the dance floor grooving to Truckin'.
There you go. Awesome.
I don't know. Well, we're wrapping up the show. So,
coming up this weekend, though, where are you going to be at?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. The Schwag is going to Harry's and Fort Smith on Friday. Fort Smith, Arkansas. We're doing a little run of shows in Arkansas. And then on Saturday, we're at the Meteor Theater in Bentonville, Arkansas. And then coming up on the 15th of February, the Blue Note Theater in Columbia, Missouri, one of our favorite venues to play. It's got the classic theater with the proscenium stage and the balcony, and it's something classic from the vaudeville era.
Wow.
And it holds about 1,000 people. And the opening act that night is the Stone Sugar Shakedown.
We know those guys.
We do know those guys, yeah. And there's a band from Columbia that's going to be on the show in March. They're called Cat Daddy's Funky Fuzzbuster Band, a six-piece funk band.
Right, that's going to be a blast.
And
man.
they're going to be
can't
here
wait.
in the studio in March. We're booking bands. We're going to try doing a band and some musical guests every week, and we're going to try having some guests coming in to talk about various topics.
There you go.
We're trying to add a little bit of intelligence and education to the show, because we got the bad joke section, which is really in the gutter as far as lowbrow entertainment, and then we got the music. So what else can we do? It's like, let's talk about cool stuff, bring some cool friends in. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, everyone.
It is going to do it for us today. You are listening to KKID Salem Rolla and the Jimmy Tebeau. Everybody out there, have a safe night. I'll be back. Do it all again tomorrow morning. We'll talk to you then.
For classic rock and roll, KKID 92.9 FM is KKID Salem Rolla.